You are looking live at the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft attached to the Prishal module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. On board that spacecraft, 3 crew members of the Expedition 73 crew, NASA's Jonny Kim, and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zubritsky, all suited up, ready to undock from the complex about 25 minutes from now to begin the ride home and the completion of a 245-day mission. Good evening from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Everything is in readiness for the departure of Kim, Ryzhikov, and Zubritsky. They climbed aboard their Soyuz spacecraft a few hours ago, donned their Sokol launch and entry suits, conducted leak checks on their side of the Soyuz Prishal docking interface, as well as leak checks of their Sokol launch and entry suits. And as we said, everything is in readiness for the actual physical separation of the Soyuz from Prishal at 7:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 8:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Their destination is a very chilly steppe of Kazakhstan, southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan, about 91 miles south of Zhezkazgan, for a Tuesday morning touchdown at 10:03 and 55 seconds a.m. Kazakhstan time, which will be 11:03:55 here in Houston, 12:03 and 55 seconds a.m. Eastern time, just after midnight Eastern time on Tuesday morning. That parachute-assisted landing will be met by a team of Roscosmos, Rosaviatsa, RSC Energia, and NASA personnel who are embedded in the search and recovery forces who will be making their way to the landing site very shortly. We'll have more on the landing and recovery operations for these 3 crew members in just a few moments. The International Space Station is currently flying 262 miles over Madagascar, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. As we mentioned, the 3 returning crew members, NASA's Jonny Kim, Soyuz commander Sergei Ryzhikov, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Zubritsky, climbed aboard their Soyuz spacecraft, closed the hatch a few hours ago, and conducted leak checks on their side of the docking interface, as did the remaining expedition crew members on the station side of the docking interface. So we have an airtight seal ready to depressurize that small passageway or vestibule prior to the time of the command to open up the hooks holding the Soyuz to the Prishal module. The Prishal hooks themselves were opened just over an hour ago, just prior to the completion of the leak checks at the docking interface. A few hours ago, the departing crew members gathered one final time with their space station counterparts to offer a few final words that signaled the beginning of the end of their time on orbit. You see Jonny Kim there on the right, Sergei Ryzhikov in the middle, in the front row, and on the left, Alexei Zubritsky. They were joined by the crew members who are remaining aboard the International Space Station. The new station commander, Mike Fink, he's in the back row, second from the left, joined by NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Chris Williams, Kimi Yayui from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and 3 Roscosmos cosmonauts, Sergei Kud-Sverchkov, Sergei Mikheyev, and Oleg Platonov. At the time of physical separation of the Soyuz from the Prishal module, about 21 minutes from now, that will mark the official end of Expedition 73 and the beginning of Expedition 74. And here, again, several hours ago, you see the crew members waving goodbye one final time before entering the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft. There on the right is NASA's Mike Fink, who is the new space station commander and will be for the remainder of his mission on board the complex. Once the hatches swung closed, Sergei Kud-Sverchkov, one of the newer arrivals on board the International Space Station, conducted leak checks on the station's side of the docking interface. At the time of landing for the Soyuz spacecraft a few hours from now, Kim, Zubritsky, and Ryzhikov will have completed 245 days in space and aboard the space station itself, 3,920 orbits of the Earth, a mission of some 104 million statute miles. By the way, that's the equivalent of about 208 round trips to the moon. For Jonny Kim and Alexei Zubritsky, this was their first flight into space. For Ryzhikov, his 245 days on this mission will have brought a total of 603 days in space for him on his 3 flights. That puts him 13th on the all-time endurance list. This trio of space travelers saw the arrival of 9 visiting vehicles and the departure of 6 visiting vehicles. Ryzhikov and Zubritsky conducted a pair of spacewalks during their time on orbit, totaling 13 hours and 3 minutes. We are about 6.5 minutes away from the flight control team here in Houston, led by Flight Director Heidi Brewer, polling the team here in Mission Control for a go for undocking. The sequence of events after that call for an undocking command to be issued at 7:40 p.m. Central Time, 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That basically initiates the opening of the hooks on the Soyuz side of the docking interface with the Prishal module. That procedure takes about 90 seconds to complete, followed by springs on both sides of the docking interface pushing off against one another to actually create the physical separation of Soyuz from the Prishal module and the International Space Station. At that point, Expedition 73 goes into the history books. Expedition 74 formally begins. There's a crew portrait of the 7 crew members who will remain aboard the International Space Station. At the top, Mike Fink, Zena Cardman, Kimi Ayui, and Oleg Platonov. At the bottom, Sergei Kud-Sverchkov, Chris Williams of NASA, and Sergei Mikheyev. The undocking itself is scheduled at 7:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 8:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. There will be a pair of separation burns, small firings of the Soyuz thrusters, the first being 8 seconds in duration, the second about 15 seconds in duration, to create the opening rate between the Soyuz and the station. It will travel to a safe distance away from the station, about 41 kilometers away from the station, for the big burn. That'll be the deorbit burn that is scheduled at 10:09 and 46 seconds p.m. Central Time, 11:09 and 46 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. That burn, which is basically a braking maneuver, it's a retrograde burn of 4 minutes and 42 seconds in duration to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second, allowing it to basically fall out of orbit on its high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. Some 24 minutes after the deorbit burn, the pyrotechnics will be initiated to separate the 3 sections of the Soyuz spacecraft. The upper section, as you see in this diagram, is the orbital module. Right after the deorbit burn, that orbital module will be depressurized to vacuum in advance of the module separation itself. The 3 crew members are strapped into their respective seats in the descent module. That's the center section of the 3-section Soyuz spacecraft, with Zubritsky in the left seat, Sergei Ryzhikov as the Soyuz commander in the center seat, and Jonny Kim in the right seat. The call sign that you'll be hearing from Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov will reference favore, or favor, in the English spelling of the term. That is the name of a mountain range in Russia that Ryzhikov chose as the call sign for his Soyuz vehicle. Again, the separation of the three sections of the Soyuz scheduled at 10:38 and 4 seconds p.m. Central Time, 11:38 and 4 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Just about 3 minutes after that, the Soyuz, the descent module, that center section, traveling with its heat shield in the direction of travel, will reach the upper traces of the Earth's atmosphere, some 420,000 feet above the Earth, traveling quite fast. That will occur at 10:41 p.m. Central, 11:41 p.m. Eastern Time. At that point, just about a minute and a half later, plasma will begin to build up. That's the result of the heat that will build up around the Soyuz spacecraft that reaches some 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat shield, of course, will be repelling that heat as the Soyuz barrels its way toward the landing site on the steppe of Kazakhstan. Once the spacecraft and its three occupants exit the plasma regime, they'll feel maximum G loads on their bodies, the first tug of gravity in some 8 months of spaceflight. The maximum G loads of about 4 to 5 Gs against their bodies expected to occur at 10:47 p.m. Central, 11:47 p.m. Eastern Time. The command to open the parachutes on the Soyuz will occur at an altitude of 10.6 kilometers or 6.5 miles above the Earth, 34,777 feet to be precise. That command to open the chutes is expected at 10:49 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time, 11:49 and 31 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. That parachute deployment sequence is triggered by a barometric pressure sensor at an altitude of 41,000 feet. At that point, the main parachute cover is jettisoned by pyros and springs, pulling out 2 extraction chutes, which in turn pulls out the drogue chute. That in turn pulls out the main chute. This all takes about 20 seconds to occur. Then at 21,300 feet, a barometric pressure sensor starts a timer that triggers most of the remaining events in the landing sequence. At an altitude of just 18,000 feet above the Earth, commands are issued to jettison the heat shield, inhibit the entry thrusters, and to open up valves to vent all the hydrogen peroxide fuel for the entry thrusters and the oxygen in the life support system tank. You've seen, perhaps in past Soyuz landings, a white vapor emanating from the spacecraft. That is normal. That's a combination of hydrogen peroxide and oxygen venting into the air. The purpose of this is to safe the vehicle for landing. The search and recovery forces do not want hazardous gases to remain in those tanks when the soft landing thrusters fire just a second or two before touchdown. This way, the ground support team can approach the vehicle immediately without any concern for hazardous gases. If all goes as planned, landing will occur at 11:03 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 55 seconds a.m. Eastern Time, 10:03 and 55 seconds a.m. Kazakhstan Time. That'll occur about 91 miles southeast of the town of Jezkazgan, 2 hours and 6 minutes after sunrise at the landing site in Kazakhstan.
Let's open manual ISO valve 2. Here it is.
The NASA team that flew into Kazakhstan over the weekend, they received their helicopter assignments and flew on an Antonov 26 aircraft from the main staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, to the forward staging site in Jezkazgan, Kazakhstan last night. They overnighted in Jezkazgan, now have made their way to the airfield in Jezkazgan, where they will board a half a dozen helicopters en route to the landing site, taking off in sequential fashion to arrive in the vicinity of the landing site around the time that the Soyuz will be approaching its touchdown point. They will form a circular racetrack pattern around the landing site. The voice and telemetry from Soyuz will be relayed through that Antonov fixed-wing aircraft that will send all of that voice and data back to the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow. As is typical for a Soyuz entry, we do expect a loss of signal in voice communications from Ryzhikov aboard the Soyuz when it reaches a point about 128 kilometers away from the station. The antennas on the Soyuz and the antennas on the station will not be close enough to provide voice relay. So the communications, as is always the case, is expected to be a bit choppy from time to time until the Soyuz, with its familiar beep-beep from its beacon, reaches the vicinity of that Antonov 26 at the landing site, and then we should be good to go for a touchdown about 91 miles southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan.
I have Sudan power, onboard computer ready.
На input 2 ТВС форматом.
And select TV system display on input 2. Okay, I'm priming command R17.
Подготовил, выдаю.
The command is ready. Sending the command.
Передатчик.
Transmitter is on, display plus TV mode.
We are less than 9 minutes away now from the command for the undocking. Again, this command that will be issued
The approach display
at 7:40 p.m. Central Time, 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time,
for dynamics
is designed to open the hooks holding the Soyuz in place, latched on to the Prashal module, to which it has been attached since April 8th. It'll take 90 seconds for the hooks to fully open, initiating springs on both sides of the docking interface to push off against one another, and then we'll have physical separation.
секунд до ТРД.
30 seconds to dynamic ops enable command. That's correct.
20.
20.
All of the activities leading up to the anticipated undocking just a few minutes from now have gone very smoothly. No issues reported. Again, the departing crew members, Kim, Ryzhikov, and Zabritsky, floated into their Soyuz vehicle at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, closed the Soyuz hatch behind them, began a series of leak checks before donning their Sokol launch and entry suits, conducted leak checks in the suits themselves, and everything is in readiness for their departure.
With your go prior to TV more, I selected wide angle length. I'm activating AGC mode. Yes, press it once.
Выдал один раз пересветку.
AGC mode once.
Принято.
Views nominal. Copy.
This view is the same view that the three crew members are seeing inside the descent module on their control panel.
TV more.
This is the external camera cross-haired view from the Soyuz MS-27.
I have soft dock.
You're familiar with that cross-haired engineering view. You'll see the data in the lower left-hand screen represent the distance that the Soyuz will have backed away from the International Space Station and its rate of departure.
I'm activating the headlight. S-17 commanding. We activated the headlight. ISS power connection is not lit. Docking system remote control is not lit. With your go. We are ready to power up the docking system at 043900. I confirm 043900. That's command D7 from the command control panel. Copy.
Again, a great view of the Soyuz MS-27 in the final minutes before its departure from the Prishal module. Less than 4.5 minutes now before the command is issued for the undocking. Once again, physical separation will occur 90 seconds after the issuance of that command. Just to reset some of the upcoming events, the undocking command is scheduled just over 3 minutes from now at 7:40 p.m. Central Time. 90 seconds later, physical separation. 3 minutes after physical separation is the first of 2 separation burns of the Soyuz thrusters. This will be an 8-second burn to increase its departure rate by 0.53 meters per second. The second separation burn occurs about 1 minute and 20 seconds after that, a 15-second burn to further increase the opening rate by 1.61 meters per second.
Under 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Just over a minute away from the undocking command being issued to begin the trip home for Kim, Ryzhikov, and Zabritsky, and a chilly homecoming on the steppe of Kazakhstan on Tuesday morning.
4, 3, 2, 1. Commanding. D7, D11, lit, D15, lit,
The Soyuz docking mechanism has now been activated.
Lit. TS-8 mechanical connection is lit.
Готовы выдать команду на открытие крюков.
With your go at 4:40, we are ready to command hook opening. Yes, you have a go to command D17 at 04:40. Copy, commanding in 20 seconds.
D17.
Standing by for the issuance of the undocking command.
10, 5,
5,
4,
4,
3,
3,
2, 1.
Выдаем.
Commanding.
And the command has been sent to open the hooks. This will take about 90 seconds to complete.
Closed,
S13
not lit.
не горит.
S13 is not lit.
Люк закрыт.
Transfer hatch closed is lit.
The hooks are driving according to telemetry being received at the Russian Mission Control Center.
Pressurization. Copy, awaiting separation. Copy.
About 30 seconds away from physical separation.
Есть погасание механсоединения.
Mechanical connection is not lit.
Есть расхождение.
And we have undocking.
41-36.
0441-36, I have separation. Docking system mode is complete. Soft dock is not lit. I have attitude system readiness 1 and 2. And indicator mode is not lit.
Undocking confirmed at 7:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, as Soyuz and the International Space Station flew 262 miles over eastern Mongolia.
Condition. Let me see.
Expedition 73 in the history books. Expedition 74 now officially underway.
It's clean, no FOG, and we're continuing to separate.
Favore, состояние стыка подтвердите.
Favore, please confirm interface condition.
This view from the Soyuz external engineering camera.
2 minutes to first burn.
That first burn, as mentioned, an 8-second burst of the Soyuz engines. That will initiate a faster opening rate. Jonny Kim, Sergei Ryzhikov, and Alexei Zabritsky on the way home. Undocking occurring flawlessly on time at 7:41 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time.
Через минуту ожидаем включения ДПО.
In 1 minute, we'll have depot burn.
Up until the undocking, for the first time in history, every single docking port of the International Space Station had been occupied. Now there is an open parking place.
Москвы по состоянию
Favore, Moscow on interface conditions. I reported that the docking interface is clean and there are no debris. We're continuing to separate. 10 seconds to thruster firing. I have thruster firing.
And the first of the two separation burns being conducted.
8 seconds. Burn complete.
And it was a nominal burn, 8 seconds in duration.
We have attitude.
The second burn, 15 seconds in duration, about 1 minute and 20 seconds from now.
Экипаж МКС ЦУПа Москвы в канале СГ-1 для
I have attitude readiness, and we are waiting for
the Soyuz reported to be stable, flying over southeastern Russia.
30 seconds.
Принято в работе. Принято.
Standing by for the second separation burn. And the burn is underway.
Firing for the second burn. 7 seconds. 10. We are translating towards the US Soyuz. The burn.
And the second burn of 15 seconds in duration was nominal. So the Soyuz has increased its opening rate on the International Space Station after an on-time departure.
Victor 18 is primed. We're sending the command. The command is sent. We are continuing in page 50. We have time cycle completion. Rate sensors not lit. Accelerometer is not lit. Prop system pressurization is not lit. And we're priming Ivan 1. What's the E1 status? It is lit. We are priming Andrei 11. Don't touch. With your go, we are ready to select first thruster manifold. That's correct. A11. Commanding A11. Andrei 13 is not lit. Priming D8.
As the Soyuz MS-27 moves further and further away from the space station, the search and recovery forces, called Rosaviatsa, with NASA personnel embedded in the recovery team, will soon be making their way to the airfield in Zhezkazgan, the forward staging area for tonight's landing and recovery of the crew.
To go off the big screen. Yes, command rotation controller in attitude control mode. Copy.
All of the Soyuz systems reported to be in great shape. Next up on the checklist of timelined events will be the deorbit burn. That is scheduled at 10:09 and 46 seconds Central Time, 11:09 and 46 seconds Eastern Time. A 4-minute, 42-second braking maneuver to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second.
Control mode. And we're stowing the translation hand controller in transmit position. Copy. 8 seconds is the atmospheric miss. Copy.
Маркер ниже кривой, интеграл 12.
Marker below the curve. Integral is 12. How are you feeling? We are feeling fine. Copy.
Ожидаем через минуту.
Okay, expecting main chute deploy in 1 minute.
And you heard that report from Sergei Ryzhikov. The vehicle is out of the regime of the high heat peaking on the vehicle. The crew is feeling well. We're 15 minutes away from touchdown and just a few seconds away from the anticipated command to open the chutes.
Prepare for main chute deploy.
This is Mission Control Houston, less than 13 minutes before touchdown. We're standing by for confirmation of the deployment of the chutes. All of the descent events for the Soyuz and its 3 crew members have gone normally. Again, we are standing by for confirmation of a nominal chute deploy. The parachutes should have deployed by now, and we are expecting confirmation of that momentarily. The communications, as expected, somewhat sporadic between the Soyuz and the Antonov 26 at the landing site, that is the Flying Command and Relay Station, sending back communications and telemetry to the flight control team that you see there in the Russian Mission Control Center. This is Mission Control Houston. We have received information from the Russian Control Center that the Antonov 26 at the landing site has visual confirmation of the Soyuz under its large orange and white main chute. We're still awaiting video from the landing site, but we do know that the Soyuz is now descending under its parachute, 9.5 minutes until touchdown. And this view of the landing site from a drone, courtesy of Roscosmos, as it pans the area of the landing site. Again, we did receive confirmation that the Soyuz is descending under its main parachute. Everything appears to be going nominally, with 8.5 minutes to go until touchdown. The temperature at the landing site is about 21 degrees, and now we're getting our first view of the Soyuz. Hazy, cloudy skies, but you can see the chute. This is not as clear a view as we're typical accustomed to, but nonetheless, it does show the large parachute, the Soyuz under that chute, descending for a touchdown about 7 minutes and 40 seconds from now, and a view from an aerial drone of some of the all-terrain vehicles moving toward the expected touchdown site. We are expecting landing just a few seconds before 11:04 p.m. Central Time.
Altitude.
Once again, the skies cleared somewhat to allow us these views. Some snow on the ground, temperatures around 21 degrees Fahrenheit, but everything is in good shape as the Soyuz heads for an on-time landing to bring Jonny Kim, Sergei Ryzhikov, and Alexei Zabritsky back to Earth after 245 days in space. 7 minutes till touchdown.
Космос 697. Информацию приняли?
ПСС, фаворы, высота 3000.
3000 altitude.
Ветерочек поземления не подскажете?
What about the wind?
240 градусов до
340 degrees.
11 принято.
You can hear the beeping of the radio beacon on the Soyuz as it establishes radar contact with the Antonov fixed-wing aircraft. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters now in a racetrack pattern around the landing site, as we are less than 6 minutes away from anticipated touchdown.
This is module.
Yes, problem. My ears are... I need to pop my ears. I cannot reach my...
Try to make a, like, how to say, like a drink of water.
I tried.
Now fresh equalization, so
Yeah.
soon would be nice.
Now just 5 minutes away from touchdown. Again, this view of one of the all-terrain vehicles, part of the complement of vehicles supporting the recovery of the Soyuz MS-27 crew, just minutes away from touchdown.
Текущая высота 2000. Поворот.
2000 is the current altitude.
The Soyuz about 2 kilometers above the ground. There is a voice contact between the search and recovery forces and the spacecraft. Everything looking good. 4 minutes until touchdown.
Keep patient. Hold on.
Okay. I just don't want to pop.
Так, еще раз подтянемся. Еще раз проверим на коленнички.
One more time, check your knee pads.
ПСС, фаворы, высота 1500.
All tightened. The altitude right now is 1500.
Jonny? Yes. A little bit tight. Yes, that's enough.
Several views being provided by Roscosmos. This again a drone video of 2 of the all-terrain vehicles moving into position near the expected touchdown point.
It's
Подходит 1000 метров.
cloudy. I don't see you just yet. What's the altitude? Close to 1000. Copy.
So about 1,000 meters above the ground now, according to the report from Sergei Ryzhikov. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters are in position, flying over the landing site, as is the Antonov 26 fixed-wing
Check the top,
aircraft.
please.
Отлично. Объект наблюдаем.
Excellent.
ПСС, фаворы, высота 800. Кислород стравился.
800 altitude.
800 meters now off the ground.
We'll report to you the status after landing about the tanks.
Контрольная высота 700 метров.
700 meters. Crew, get ready for landing.
The crew being instructed to brace for landing.
Отлично, молодец, Jonny.
I got it.
Молодец. метров.
500 meters.
Руки скрестили. Hand on body. And don't talking. Keep mouth closed. Т-22, даю координаты посадки 47-22.
69-43.
The coordinates of the landing are as follows: 47, 22, 69, 43.
Так, приняли борта.
Did you copy?
Второй наблюдаешь? Не. Стрелочка, видишь, вот над нами развернулась. Да, наблюдаю. Стрелочка. Стрелку влево показывает.
Do you see the arrow? It turned. It's to the left.
47, 22, 69, 43.
The landing coordinates 47, 22, 69, 43.
Расчета точка, которую давали. Нам их справа у нас. Наблюдаю, прочу вправо.
I see it. I turn to the right.
Мотор 429. Набор экипажа поискового самолета.
Tabor 429.
На приеме.
To the rescue aircraft.
Второй, ты где?
Догоняю.
Second to 1.
This is Mission Control Houston. Although we did not see the landing itself, the search and
Please
recovery
respond to
forces
search and
called
rescue
out
aircraft.
landing coordinates. And from that, we have informed the flight director here in Mission Control that the Soyuz MS-27 has in fact landed.
522, close by.
The approximate landing time, 11:03 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 30 seconds a.m. Eastern Time, 10:03 and 30 seconds a.m. at the landing site. So we'll call it a
Tables
landing.
to 429.
And now the search and recovery forces and the Russian Mi-8 helicopters will be moving into position to begin the extraction of the crew once they've ascertained that the vehicle has no hazardous gases. Once again, Soyuz MS-27 has landed. It was a nominal entry. The unofficial landing time, 11:03 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 30 seconds a.m. Eastern Time.
Готов записать и передать в космосе.
Ready to copy and to transmit.
На приеме 697.
Космос запрашивал. Готов передать информацию.
697 is here.
Пока ничего не нашел.
Ready to copy.
Которые выдали.
Понял.
Nothing to transmit just yet. I have the coordinates that you have relayed.
Космос 429. Теме 429. Фавор, я вас слышу.
Cosmos to 429. I don't hear you.
So Jonny Kim, Sergei Ryzhikov, and Alexei Zabritsky are home for the holidays after 245 days in space. Having landed 91 miles to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan, and there you see on the front screen of the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov the Russian words Есть Посадка. They've landed. All of the evening's events, from hatch closure to undocking to the deorbit burn, all of the entry activities and landing went by the book to bring to an end this 245-day mission spanning almost 104 million statute miles. The all-terrain vehicles, including one that contains the ground-based television cameras and their operators, are in the process of making their way toward the spacecraft. Hopefully within a few minutes, so they'll reestablish that television view with the search and recovery teams surrounding the capsule, beginning the work to extract the vehicle. The crew inside the vehicle in the descent module, Jonny Kim strapped into the right seat of the descent module. In the middle seat, Sergei Ryzhikov, the Soyuz commander, and in the left seat, Alexei Zabritsky, having completed their 245-day mission, with a landing at 11:03 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 30 seconds a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday morning. Once again, this view from Roscosmos television showing basically a sweeping pan of the landing site. We did not see the touchdown itself because of the cloudy conditions, but the search and recovery forces did confirm the landing coordinates and confirmed an approximate landing time of 11:03 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 30 seconds a.m. Eastern Time. And there you see some of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that are flying and descending in sequential fashion to assist in the recovery of the 3 crew members. The work now will involve the extraction of the 3 crew members from the descent module. They'll be placed in chairs right by the capsule to allow themselves a few minutes of regaining their land legs and equilibrium. They then will be brought in each of their chairs into a nearby inflatable medical tent to remove their Sokol launch and entry suits, get into more comfortable clothing, and then in turn be brought back to 3 awaiting helicopters, 1 for each crew member, that will take them on a 2-hour flight back to the staging city in Karaganda to the northeast. Jonny Kim will board a NASA plane bound back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, while Ryzhikov and Zabritsky board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft for a flight back to their training base in Star City, Russia, outside of Moscow. This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're looking at a wide view of the landing site in Kazakhstan, to the southeast of the town of Jezkazgan, where the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft and its 3 occupants, NASA's Jonny Kim, and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zabritsky landed at 11:03 and 30 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 30 seconds a.m. Eastern Time, to complete a 245-day mission aboard the International Space Station. All of the entry and landing activities went perfectly. There were very cloudy conditions at the landing site that prevented us from actually seeing the Soyuz descending under its main parachute or the touchdown itself. But the verbal words from the search and recovery forces flying overhead indicated that they had voice contact as well as visual contact of the Soyuz under the chutes, and confirmed the touchdown coordinates that indicated that the touchdown occurred as planned at 11:03 p.m. Central Time, 12:03 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. That would have been 10:03 a.m. at the landing site. And here is a video now at the landing site itself, and right by the spacecraft, which has landed on its side, which is typical. So the search and recovery forces are there. They will be now working to begin the process of extracting the crew one by one and placing them in chairs nearby, and then bringing them into an inflatable medical tent. Again, there's your Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft, having been pulled over onto its side after touchdown. The winds are a little bit frisky out there, and temperatures quite frigid, 21 degrees Fahrenheit. There is the hatchway at the top of the Soyuz spacecraft. Again, this is not unusual for a Soyuz to be pulled onto its side following touchdown, depending on the weather conditions and the wind. So, under overcast skies with snow flurries and temperatures around 21 degrees Fahrenheit, the 3 crew members who flew on Expedition 73 are home. They undocked that Soyuz spacecraft from the Prishal module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station at 7:41 p.m. Central Time, almost 4 hours ago, landing about 17.5 minutes ago at 11:03 p.m. Central Time, 12:03 a.m. Eastern Time.
Рядом с тобой стоять справа, слева, или там, где ты.
Ну, снимем ручки, давай обработаем.
So members of the search and recovery forces are in the process of working the top hatch of the Soyuz spacecraft to begin the process of extracting the crew. Jonny Kim and Alexei Zabritsky home after their first flights into space, respectively, 245 days. Sergei Ryzhikov has just completed the third flight in his career and now has logged a total of 603 days in space. The top hatch is open, and members of the technician team peering in to receive flight data file books and to check on the initial condition of the crew before they begin the extraction of the crew members. The chairs that they'll bring the crew to for a few minutes to gain their land legs back, if you will, those have been set up on a tarpaulin just outside of the capsule. The crew probably won't spend very much time in those chairs because of the cold weather out there They'll be bundled up before they're brought in to a nearby inflatable medical tent to remove their Sokol launch and entry suits, get into more comfortable clothing, and then receive initial medical testing before they're flown back in 3 individual helicopters, 1 for each crew member, to Karaganda, Kazakhstan, the staging site for today's landing.
Разговоров нет. Который из 3? Только ты мне не озвучил. Да. Не, а то уходит в эфир, потом начинает. Ага, смотри. А у них это бригада, 6 человек. Это официально. Да.
One of the search and recovery technician team members, having crawled into the upper hatch of the Soyuz vehicle, removing some of the initial equipment from the crew, as well as some of the flight data file books that the crew used for reference during their descent back into the Earth's atmosphere and their parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan that occurred about 23 minutes ago. And we're expecting now the first of the crew members to be removed from the Soyuz. This should be Sergei Ryzhikov from the center seat of the Soyuz.
Ну, всегда командир-то по центру. Его же никак не объедешь. Они туда пошли. Они уже пошли. У нас картинка есть. Командира.
And in fact, that is the Soyuz commander, Sergei Ryzhikov, out of the Soyuz, 603 days in space, good for 13th on the all-time list.
Нет, не надо высадить. Этот не надо. Ой, шиповник почистить.
A good view of the Soyuz commander, Sergei Ryzhikov. The flight control team at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov has confirmed the official landing time now at 11:03 and 33 seconds p.m. Central Time, 12:03 and 33 seconds a.m. Eastern Time. So that landing time that we had estimated earlier was just a couple of seconds off, but that is the landing time.
Здесь что, Серега? А? На машине кречет написано. Только с ним попрощались.
Он уже здесь. 96. Я, может, накрыть на голову?
Да нет, пока нормально.
Не холодно?
Да нет, так...
20 против не получилось. Вечером.
Вечером?
Сейчас будет холодать, уже 18.
Ну так, нормально все, авиация без проблем.
Мы 10 километров перелетели задом опять. Мы ветерком.
Да не только ветерок, по-моему, что-то ус там на стрессе. Перелетный промах 8, перегрузка 5,3.
The miss was 8. The G-load was 5 and 3.
Once again, a view of Sergei Ryzhikov, the Soyuz
The
commander,
control was not
out of
ideal.
the Soyuz TMA-27.
Headwind or
The other two crew members to follow shortly. The Soyuz landed at 11:03 p.m. Central Time, 12:03 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, 10:03 a.m. at the landing site after a flawless departure from the International Space Station
Jonny had issues with his ear.
and a flawless entry back into the Earth's atmosphere.
На 3 километрах надо было открыть, продуться. Быстренько и опять закрыть.
You should have purged at 3 kilometers. Purged and then close it.
Алексей за пакет может потянуться.
Ну вот, ожидаем.
Alexei started reaching for the bag.
Тут все готово. Насчет этого.
Первый снег сегодня. Не было снега.
First snow today.
Посыпал.
There was no snow. We arrived at the airport and it started to snow. It's cold. Let's put a hat on.
Максимально быстро спола.
Is the tent ready? Will be shortly.
Леса подойдут. Мелочек с собой. Родиться не буду даже.
Let's follow the tradition.
Голова не мерзнет? Нет.
Not cold? No, not cold.
So the work continues to extract the other two crew members from the Soyuz.
What about this hat with blue and white? That's fine.
Да, когда сделают, да, по команде. Вниз вверх. Ага. И здесь в это. И на голову. Расположилась, не давит. Чудесно вообще.
Fantastic.
Как ты стал формулировать, да? Так шапку расположилась.
Ну, внимание, короткое интервью.
Attention, please, a short interview.
Кому? Вам отвечать, да?
So, do I answer to you? Okay,
Что вы говорите?
just say something.
Поздравляем всех.
What shall I say?
Завершением
Congratulations, everyone, on one more end of a Soyuz vehicle trip.
выполнения программы 73-й экспедиции.
Mission Expedition 73, all tasks completed. The crew are feeling great.
Специалистов,
Thank you to all the specialists, to all the designers, to everyone involved,
ЦУПа,
to MCC,
научных
employees, to scientists, to everyone involved.
поддерживал. И, конечно, вас,
Thank you to all the families, and thank you to you who are greeting us here.
как обычно, мягенько.
How was the landing? It was a soft landing, as always.
Повернули чуть, да.
We tried to turn you. Yes, you did. You did turn us.
Передаешь?
Да. Конечно, конечно, чуть-чуть.
So you heard a few words, the interpreted words of Sergei Ryzhikov answering a few questions from members of the Russian media at the landing site, saying it was a soft landing and the crew is feeling great. The search and recovery teams, the technicians still working to extract the other two crew members, Alexei Zabritsky and Jonny Kim.
Все, так видно.
Ребята, потом чуть-чуть сейчас отойдите, можете поработать с другими, и потом снимать, хорошо?
Да, вот, бери. Надо обратно. Ну, смотрите, по времени сколько уже прошло. Если хотите работать, работайте.
Just watch the time. The readings are nominal. Everything is fine.
Первый говорят, да?
Ну да.
It's snowing for the first time, they say, yes.
Смотри, не видно, что пролетали. Пролетали, с орбиты уже дня 3 как облачно. До этого ясно было.
It used to be clear, but for the past 3 days it has been cloudy when we flew by.
Григорий Алексеевич. Вашего? А что, не надо кресло? Все, я тогда ухожу сейчас в палатку, а вы тут тогда поработаете немножко для камеры, а потом там... Хорошо. Давайте второй срез.
This video from the landing site is courtesy of Roscosmos, a close-up view of the
All
descent
right, let's
module,
take one more reading.
the only section of the three-section Soyuz vehicle that returns from space. The pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz occurring some 24 minutes after the completion of the deorbit burn that enabled the Soyuz to drop out of orbit for its 54-minute trip back into the Earth's atmosphere to the landing site.
They're taking him to the tent, and it's warm in here.
And one of the other crew members being taken directly into the medical tent.
Maybe into the tent? No, no. Traditions are not to be broken. I'll wait for everyone.
So 2 of the 3 crew members are now out of the Soyuz vehicle. You still see Sergei Ryzhikov, the Soyuz commander, there. One of the other crew members already inside the medical tent. And
Handmade.
one of the people on
the
the scene at the landing site providing a Matryoshka doll, a stacking doll, bearing Ryzhikov's face.
A whole collection,
hand-painted.
one after each flight.
As an offering of congratulations for his return back to Earth.
Все понял? Да. Да. Дали мне? Я вас с орбиты вез. Мы же... Там очень много людей. Нет, ну не достанут, а потом мы подойдем. Давайте Джонни дождем. Да нет, Джонни, давайте дождем. Нормально. Сколько 4 распишем? Может зажить что-нибудь. Здесь сколько места надо? Ну, так, у нас сколько? 7 литературных гостиных. По каждой. По Эву сейчас.
Нет, я...
А есть второе дело? Может, второе дело? Не, Леш, не полный. Давай. Нет, давайте мы это там уберем немножко. Поднесем. Сказали, что достанут. Нет, третьего члена. А? После эвакуации. Вы видите, сейчас третьего члена экипажа эвакуируют.
С моей стороны не было.
Не было уже, да?
Вы же сказали, что сломали.
А, нет, это отдать ему месяц?
Высотомер может было.
Молодец. Дружись.
NASA's Jonny Kim back on Earth after 245 days in space.
Where are our photo and video folks?
So all three crew members now out of the Soyuz vehicle. The Soyuz commander, Sergei Ryzhikov, was first out. He is still sitting in his chair, getting his land legs back. Alexei Zabritsky was taken directly into the medical tent nearby. And there's NASA's Jonny Kim, having completed his first flight into space. Ryzhikov now being brought to the medical tent as well. Kim will follow in just a couple of minutes.
Take a photo with you? Yeah, I'll do this. I'll do this.
Get the doctor here in a second.
Ryzhikov fulfilling a long-standing Russian tradition by signing his capsule.
Okay. She knows that you're awake.
Thank you.
Okay. You want your comm cap off or you're good?
Yeah, I think off.
Signing the capsule and the date of its landing, December 9th, Kazakhstan time. And another view, courtesy of Roscosmos, showing Sergei Ryzhikov being brought to the inflatable medical tent. Alexei Zabritsky already in the medical tent. And Jonny Kim having a few minutes to get his land legs back. Still sitting in the chair nearby the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft that the three crew members landed in some 44 minutes ago. And another view of NASA's Jonny Kim. The Soyuz MS-27 landed at 11:03 p.m. Central Time, 12:03 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday morning, December 9th, 10:03 a.m. Kazakhstan time at the landing site, some 91 miles southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan. And the third and final crew member of Soyuz MS-27, Jonny Kim, now being brought to that nearby inflatable medical tent. Right there in the foreground is Dina Cantella, who's the Deputy Program Manager for the International Space Station program. So all three crew members now inside that inflatable medical tent. They will be helped out of their Sokol launch and entry suits into more comfortable clothing, and will have an opportunity to be brought to three waiting Russian helicopters, one for each crew member, that will take them on a 2-hour flight back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan. Kim will board a NASA jet with his NASA team members. They will fly back to the Johnson Space Center in Houston, while Alexei Zabritsky and Sergei Ryzhikov board a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to fly back to their training base in Star City outside of Moscow.